Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that.
The clip is pretty emotional since Quando witnessed one of his day one homies lose their life right in front of his eyes. But Quando Rondo isn't the only rapper who lost a loved one right in front of their own eyes, because the same happened with Quavo since he watched Takeoff lose his life. On November 1st, 2022, Quavo and Takeoff were shooting dice at the bowling alley in Houston when a fight broke out and someone started shooting. Unfortunately, Takeoff got hit, and he was tragically pronounced dead at the scene. TMZ leaked a 911 call where dispatchers were talking about what happened. Apparently, someone in the building next to the bowling alley called 911 and reported that they heard shots going off. In another video, you could hear Quavo on the phone with 911, asking them what they needed to do so they could save Takeoff. Footage from the scene also shows Quavo standing over Takeoff, trying to save him before he passes. And Takeoff's death was a very emotional moment in the rap scene. At first, Quavo was silent about it, but decided to open up on the situation a year later. He let interviewers know that he's still processing the death of Takeoff, especially since it happened in front of his own eyes.
Survivor, I was there, so at the same time, it could have been both of us gone. So I look at this as me being alive. I have to do this job and make sure everybody aware that losing my nephew, you could be in the same position. It's a tough thing knowing that we separated and knowing I'm not gonna see him again on this earth, but it's cool.
Offset also had words about Takeoff's death, since he's also part of the Migos. Because before Takeoff's funeral, Offset made a post on Instagram saying, "The pain you left me with is unbearable. My heart is shattered, and I have so many things to say, but I can't find the words to say." Offset also gave a speech at Takeoff's funeral, which was a very emotional moment for rap, since fans never expected the Migos to end this way.
Came from Tate, the originator. He the originator of that flow. He changed the music. Lord, give us the strength. Just give us the strength. The family, everybody, give us some strength.
Now, let's move on to Lil Dump from the NBA camp, because he had a pretty disturbing and emotional moment during an interview with No Jumper, where he kept throwing up due to how many pills he was on.
Anything in particular stand out?
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify point of sale, the all-in-one POS solution.
And fans in Adam 22 were concerned about Lil Dump's health after seeing this interview, since it clearly seems like he needs some help and is going through something, because Lil Dump didn't even want to talk about why he puked on the interview.
What just happened?
Something deep in life that, I'd rather not talk about it, but I can talk to you about it personally as a person, you know what I'm saying? But some, things deep in life.
But I'm just talking about you puking, or like the fact that you're kind of drunk, right?
No, I ain't drunk. I'm sober.
You're sober? No alcohol. That's not what's in that cup. I just kind of assumed it was alcohol.
Water.
Oh, okay. So what are you going through right now?
Just some deep things.
You trying to get clean? You're trying to get clean?
Get clean.
Off of some other.
Not long after this interview, Lil Dump was featured in another YouTube video where he tells a girl he does more drugs than she could ever imagine.
Why are you standing like that? Stand up, shit. You gotta be louder, like.
I do more drugs than
Me
you
too.
could ever imagine.
That's not, okay.
I know.
Then, on April 23rd, 2024, Lil Dump was taken to the hospital for, unfortunately, taking the wrong drugs. And you can tell that Dump really needs help.
What nasty, man. Only the meatloaf on top of that. I ain't lying. It's about the best food I got here so far. Yeah, I'm in this comfortable.
So hopefully, Dump gets the help needed before it's too late. Because Memphis rapper Big Scar couldn't get help before it was too late. Because Big Scar faced several traumatic experiences in his life, including being shot and suffering a serious car accident. And out of nowhere, on December 22nd, 2022, one of Scar's family members broke the news that Scar had accidentally overdosed on pills at his girlfriend's house. Many fans didn't know what Scar was going through, but after deeper research, they found emotional IG lives where you could tell that Scar was going through something from how he was acting.
Yeah.
I don't play, yo.
Everything.
You ever go? Hey,
you go, boy.
Where you going, cuz? Where you going, cuz? Cuz? Where you going, cuz? Hey.
Now let's move on to Lil TJ, because he shocked the rap game back in June 2022 when he got shot 7 times during a robbery in New Jersey. He was sitting in a car with 2 of his homies until someone walked up to the car and tried to rob him. Shots started going off and TJ ended up getting hit. It didn't look like TJ was going to make it out alive. He was unconscious for a long time and no one knew if he was going to wake back up. But 2 months after he went down, he eventually woke back up and hopped on IG to thank everyone for the support.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy TJ, man. I'm just checking in with y'all. I just want to say thanks for the love, thanks for the support. I've been looking at the DMs, you know what I'm saying, the comments and everything else, and I feel love. You know what I'm saying, 7 shots, it was tough, you know. Most people don't survive it, but I'm here for a reason. And new music coming soon. We're gonna come back stronger than ever, man. Love y'all.
Thankfully, TJ survived getting hit 7 times. But let's talk about Juice WRLD now, because Juice WRLD was going crazy when he came into the rap game, and Juice was very open about his drug problem. Fans knew that Juice was on drugs, but not insanely bad, until Juice completely went to sleep during an interview due to how high he was.
Describe that single and that track that we're playing right now. Hey, give me a little bit one on Lucid Dreams. Describe that track to me.
Oh, my apologies.
Things only continued to get worse because on December 8th, 2019, Juice left LA to head home to Chicago. However, police had been tipped off that the private plane taking Juice and his crew to the airport was already bringing a lot of illegal items like weapons and drugs. So the police were waiting when the plane arrived and they jumped on board to do a search. Juice got freaked out by what they were going to find on him, so he swallowed a bunch of perks and hid them. And while the cops were searching, Juice ended up having a seizure. They suspected that it was due to an opioid overdose, which was correct. And Juice's death hit the rap scene hard, and it was a very emotional moment for a lot of rappers. Boosie was pissed and blamed the pilot for Juice's death.
Who told the people they had guns on the plane? You shouldn't have, what? You the one made them people come search the plane. That's why he swallowed the rat. Snitches. It's a worldwide epidemic. Snitch.
Juice WRLD's manager, Lil Bibby.
If you could imagine your ideal way of working, what would it look like? Monday.com can make it your reality. With Monday.com.
I don't got money, that's what I'm saying. I don't got money to do shit like that, but I just be living in the moment. All the time. All the time. I'm kind of cool in Atlanta. Cannon kind of set me up. Got the vision. I do too. It's great. One time, do it over. One time. Life is weird, bro. And I don't question it. I just let it go. Let it do what it's gonna do. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Samir Woods was born on July 31st, 1994, in Francisville, Philadelphia. Growing up, Samir wasn't like most of the other kids. The way he dressed, the things he liked, and the music he listened to was different. With his parents being divorced, Samir was forced to bounce between homes a lot. Although he was in a rough neighborhood of Philly, he managed to avoid trouble by staying inside most of the time, playing video games or watching anime. He listened to a lot of Mike Jones, Wiz Khalifa, and Meek Mill, but around 13 years old his taste in music changed. He started listening to things like My Chemical Romance and his favorite artist, Marilyn Manson. After discovering Marilyn Manson, he would quickly become interested in everything about him, to the point he was studying him like a project. This would cause him to get teased at school for being different, but he was never afraid to be himself, continuing to indulge in emo rock and anime, which at the time he didn't know would be crucial to his career. His very first taste in music came from playing the trumpet in the school band, but he says he only did it for an easy A. Even though Samir had a lot of acquaintances and was considered the class clown, he struggled to fit into friend groups, to the point where he admits to craving other people's attention. He would get kicked out of school and forced to attend a different one. One day a kid from school named William Aston put out a remix to Chris Brown's Look at Me Now, and the whole school went crazy for it. With Samir used to being the one getting all the attention, he was inspired by how much William was getting. He decided to go up to William and tell him that he raps, even though he had never rapped in his life. William told him to do a freestyle, but Samir would continue to prolong the topic, knowing he couldn't do it. One day William pulled up to his house and told him to come outside, that they were going to his studio. Being put on the spot, Samir had no choice but to tag along. When they got to the studio, he would record his very first song, and to his surprise, he said it came out pretty good. They decided to start rapping together under the name Steaktown, where they would start recording music and drop their first music video on YouTube titled Steaktown Anthem. Samir initially rapped by the name Steaktown Vertical. When Samir told his parents he wanted to take rap serious, they were upset and thought he was joking, telling him, "You really want to make a career from rapping?" His grades at school began to drop due to his focus being elsewhere, and he would be forced to switch schools multiple times. One day a guy from Samir's block would hear his music and told him he rapped kinda fast like a machine gun or a Lil Uzi, which inspired him to birth the name we all know today, Lil Uzi Vert. At this point he wanted to drop out of school and was doing anything to avoid it, so he started going harder and recording more music. In 2014 he dropped his first ever project titled Purple Thoughts, which included beats from Space Ghost Perp. One of the songs the two did was White Shit, and it came out with a music video. This is also around the time that he made a SoundCloud account and began uploading his first music. His music would catch the ear of a DJ named DJ Buzzworthy, who reached out to William and Lil Uzi offering to manage them. William declined the offer, but Uzi took it. He was looking for any hope of blowing up and getting out of school. DJ Buzzworthy introduced Uzi to a producer named Charlie Heat, who would start feeding him beats, and they uploaded multiple tracks on SoundCloud. At this point, Uzi's songs went from a couple hundred plays to a few thousand, which he says at the time meant the world to him and gave him hope. DJ Buzzworthy would give one of Uzi's songs to the Philly radio station Power 99, where DJ Diamond Cuts started to play the song in rotation. Even though he managed to get a song on the local radio, his mother was still not impressed and would repeatedly tell him to find a real job. In an attempt to keep his mom happy, he would get a job at a grocery store, but he quit after 3 days. This led to more arguments with his mom, and he would be kicked out of the house and forced to live with his grandma in a nursing home. Just months down the road, one of the co-founders of Atlantic Records happened to be driving through Philly when he heard Lil Uzi on the radio station. It was Don Cannon, and he immediately heard potential and reached out to Uzi. This would lead him to taking Uzi under his wing and signing him to his Academy imprint. But make no mistake, he was still extremely underground at this point. Don Cannon would introduce Uzi to DJ Drama at Wiz Khalifa's concert in Philly, and they decided to bring Uzi from Philly to Atlanta to work on more music. Shortly after, he would drop the Real Uzi tape, which was hosted by Don Cannon himself, and with the help of Don, even got him production from Metro Boomin. The tape would do decently from an underground perspective and give him a small but valid buzz, to where people like ASAP Yams would reach out and tell Uzi to keep working, and he became his friend. In January of 2015, Uzi would be featured on Carnage WDYD with Rich the Kid and ASAP Ferg, bringing his name in front of a lot of new people who would run to his SoundCloud to find more music. With more and more fans tuning in to Lil Uzi's unique style, Don Cannon and DJ Drama would get him an even bigger deal through Generation Now Atlantic, which was a huge win and turning point in his career. While signed to Drama's Generation Now, Uzi would link up with rapper Scheme, who was also signed to the same label. Their collaborations would also play an important role in his early career, gaining them a small fan base in 2015. In October of 2015, he dropped his debut mixtape under the label titled Love Is Rage 1, which would be detrimental to his success and keep the buzz he had going. The tape featured songs like 7 AM and Top, and also had production from some of the biggest producers in the game, TM88, Lex Luger, Sony Digital, and Weezy. To this day, the tape is still considered a fan favorite. To add even more hype around Uzi's name, the day after the tape dropped, he was featured on Young Thug's Slime Season 2 on the track Big Racks. These two events would simultaneously keep Uzi's name buzzing around for months to come, as they were both gaining more and more popularity. As blogs started to cover Uzi's music and interviews followed, Uzi would say this: "I want to be as big as I can be. I want to be one of the biggest artists. I want to be remembered like, he is crazy. He is phenomenal." In 2016, Uzi would drop his second official mixtape, Lil Uzi vs. The World, which included songs like Money Longer, P's and Q's, and You Was Right. The tape would bring Uzi right to the edge of the mainstream, as fans awaited his debut album. A month later, he would be featured on the song Pull Up with Wiz Khalifa, which was a monumental moment for Uzi. He looked up to Wiz since he was younger, as well as the fact it would be his first gold recording plaque. In June of 2016, XXL Freshman announced that Lil Uzi would be one of the featured artists of that year. In July, they dropped the 2016 Cypher, which went viral, and would go down as a huge moment in hip-hop for a number of reasons.
Anyone want to start? We should get every detail right.
Welcome to the Théâtre des Vampires.
I didn't skip this.
All those years, the memories, coming back. I want to tell the real story.
Boost your revenue and drive growth with Google Ads. Reach high-value customers across the entire Google network, like search, shopping, YouTube, and more. Get started today.
One of the reasons being the fact that this was a turning point in the new direction of hip-hop, and Uzi was one of the people leading the way. With Lil Uzi vs. The World picking up even more buzz than when it originally dropped, songs like Money Longer would finally hit the Billboard 100, being his first solo song to ever chart, shortly followed by You Was Right. You could argue this was the turning point in his career, where he finally broke out of the underground and into the mainstream. While all of this is happening, Lil Uzi would link up with the underground artist at the time, Playboi Carti. The two dropped their first song together, Left Right, and it instantly received positive feedback, creating a merger of Carti and Uzi fans who insisted on them doing more music. As if Uzi wasn't rising to fame enough already, he dropped his second tape of 2016, The Perfect Love Tape. Even though the tape was not as successful as others before it, it did have a few standout songs like Erase Your Social, and of course We Ghetto Flowers with Playboi Carti once again. He would be featured on the Migos smash hit, Bad and Bougie, which brought controversy between fans because they argued whether his verse was good or bad, bringing more attention to his name. As if two tapes and bursting into the mainstream wasn't enough, he ended 2016 with yet another tape, this time collabing with Gucci Mane for 1017 vs. The World. He spent the rest of 2016 doing shows around the world as a guest on the Weeknd's tour. While Uzi was on tour, he began working on more music as 2017 approached. In the beginning of 2017, Uzi surprised everyone by dropping 4 songs on his SoundCloud, which would be considered to be Love Is Rage 1.5. One of the songs was XO Tour Life. The song was recorded and inspired by his tour with The Weeknd. The song would go down as one of the biggest songs of the year, as well as his most successful song, going over 7 times platinum, and once again elevating his career to new heights. He would spend most of 2017 building hype around his debut album, as well as dropping multiple hit songs with Playboi Carti. At the end of 2017, his debut album, Love Is Rage 2, finally dropped.